The Power of Human Interaction, il ruolo della persona nel retail alla luce delle sfide tecnologiche. Una serie di appuntamenti promossi da ANASFiM sul field marketing. Ne parliamo, come sempre, con Nicola Augello, presidente dell'associazione. Benvenuto Nicola. Oggi iniziamo il secondo gruppo di argomenti, incrementare le competenze dei sales merchandiser all'interno del punto di vendita. Oggi parliamo di recruiting e ci spostiamo in UK.
Sì, oggi abbiamo un contenuto, sempre grazie alla nostra associata, che ci permette di vedere anche una soluzione nuova, innovativa, che chiaramente coinvolge anche l'intelligenza artificiale, un nuovo modo di condurre il recruiting secondo ormai anche il trend della nuova tecnologia.
Assolutamente, e allora la parola a Cameron Hughes e ai Solution Lead di CPM UK.
Hi everyone, it's great to be able to join you all today at ANASFiM. I've been asked to speak to you today about a topic that I'm genuinely passionate about, and that's artificial intelligence. I'm the AI Solutions Lead here at CPM UK, and like many of you, I've watched AI go from something that lived mainly at tech conferences to something that suddenly is part of everyday work conversations. I was actually at an AI conference just last week, and it struck me just how fast this shift has happened. A couple of years ago, those events felt a bit niche. Now the rooms are full of people from every industry you can imagine, all essentially asking the same question. How do we use this stuff in real life? So today I want to make it very real. I want to show you exactly where AI can sit inside of a field operation, what problems it can solve, and why we chose it to support CHEP's team. As many of you know, CHEP is a global leader in pallet pooling and supply chain logistics, and CPM sit right at the intersection between brands, retailers, and customers. We're the people sent into stores to represent a client, identify issues, educate retailers, and improve performance. Our field teams work across almost every kind of location you can imagine, and the work they do is extremely varied. In one location, a rep might be explaining the basics of the CHEP model and walking the retailer through the permitted use of pallets. They might be arranging a collection and making sure the retailer understands what will happen next. But then they jump in a car, drive 10 minutes down the road, and suddenly the conversation has changed completely. Now they're digging into KPIs like ins, outs, and FTR to understand why this particular store has a low return rate. They're looking at sender data. They might be checking historical information, trying to understand a failure point. And that's before we even get into the what if scenarios, right? Like, what if the retailer says they don't receive CHEP pallets? What if the location is moved? What if they're temporarily closed or the contact isn't available? Every visit brings a different set of questions. All those questions rely on the rep having access to the right information at the right moment, which means the amount of knowledge they're expected to hold is massive. Experienced reps build shortcuts in their heads. They remember where things live on a SharePoint. They know which PDF has the right answer. They've built up a bit of an intuition. But even then, most people still end up searching and double checking throughout their day. As for new starters, it's even harder. When you're new, everything takes longer. Finding a document, understanding a code, navigating an app, or remembering a definition. This is where the challenge really starts affecting performance. Because what should be a simple 20-second check can easily turn into 5 minutes, and then 10, and then you're sitting in your car scrolling through folders, or even worse, you're stood in front of a retailer while the entire conversation pauses. And that pause matters. It breaks your flow, it affects your confidence, it limits how much value you can deliver in the time that you have. It also places pressure on managers. New starters naturally lean heavily on their manager in the first few months. They ask the same questions again and again. And managers genuinely want to help, but they have their own teams to run, their own meetings to go to, and their own targets to meet. When onboarding becomes too heavy, you risk ending up in a situation where the business can't scale easily because every new hire creates more demand for support. So we found ourselves asking a very simple question. What if field teams didn't have to hold all that information in their heads? What if they didn't have to memorize every new policy, every definition, every process? What if they didn't have to dig through multiple platforms or jump between apps just to get a single answer? That question is what led us to create ChepChat. ChepChat is a simple idea, but a powerful one. It's a central place where field teams can just ask. Ask what an outcome code means. Ask what to do if a retailer refuses a collection. Ask how to recognize a misposting. And get the answer straight away. The aim wasn't to replace training or experience. The aim was to remove friction, to take all the repetitive, admin-heavy tasks that steal time away from value-added work and give them to a system that doesn't get tired, a system that doesn't forget and doesn't need 30 clicks to find one document. Because time in store is precious. The value a rep brings comes from their judgment, their people skills, their ability to read a situation. When that time gets consumed by admin or scrolling through PDFs, something important is lost. At CPM, we talk a lot about human plus AI, and that's not a slogan, it's genuinely how we think about these systems. The human brings the value and the AI brings the speed. Together, they remove the friction that slows down a visit. ChepChat does exactly that. It gives people room to breathe. It helps them make decisions faster. It helps them stay focused on the parts of the job that matter, like the conversations, the observations, the problem solving. It helps new starters feel less overwhelmed and more self-sufficient. And for experienced reps, it becomes a tool that they can quickly lean on rather than getting lost in folders. We're still in testing with deployment plan for early 2026, but the reaction so far has been hugely encouraging. People see it as a stress reliever, something that makes the job feel smoother, something that saves them time on things that don't add value, so they can spend more time on the things that do. And for Chep, it's a step toward even stronger operational consistency. Because when every rep has access to the same information, in the same format, with the same clarity, you naturally regain control of performance. You reduce variance. You increase confidence both for the rep and for the retailer. So ultimately, this isn't a story about AI for AI's sake. It's a story about people, about giving people better tools so they can do their best work, about removing the friction that slows them down, about creating a space for the human side of field operations, the coaching, the conversation, the problem solving, the collaboration. AI is at its best when you barely know it's there, when it's just quietly removing the weight from your day. And that is exactly what we've aimed for with ChepChat. Thank you all for listening and enjoy the rest of your day at ANASFiM.
Hey, are you the Chep training bot?
Yep, that's me. I'm here to help you get up to speed with everything you need to know about working with the Chep account at CPM. If you've got any questions or need guidance on processes, pallet management, or anything else, just let me know.
Super, yeah, I was hoping that you could remind me what the code was for a sugar pallet.
Of course, the code for a sugar pallet is 02, and the specific code is B0806B. If you need any more details or help with pallet codes, just ask.
That's great. I'm just with my Spanish colleague. We're trying to clarify the collections process, but English isn't her first language, and I think she's struggling to understand me. Can you just run her through the collections process in Spanish quickly?
Claro que sí. Vamos a repasar el proceso de recolección de forma sencilla.